The next live Q&A episode for the Slightly Serious Sign podcast is going to be January 19th for our 100th episode, and we want you to submit your questions. So go to wensco.com/Q&A and submit your questions. You can submit them like text like you did before, but now there's a section where you can submit an audio question. So record your questions, send them in, and we'll play them live on air for the podcast January 19th. And we want you there, and we want your questions. So join us January 19th by submitting your questions, wensco.com/Q&A. This episode is brought to you by Arlon Graphics, a trusted source for high-performance cast vinyl. This is their new product, DPF-V 9500, which is a high-performance, non-PVC polyurethane product that is made for highly textured surfaces like this. Check out this and all the new products Arlon has coming out at wensco.com. Are you guys good?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Do you know what we're talking about?
No idea.
Me neither. All right, I think that's good.
From Grand Rapids, Michigan, it's the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast, starring Mike Hall, with his co-host Tyler Hall, and their sometime sidekick, Domingo Tobar. We invite you to join the show with today's relevant sign industry guest. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Mikey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 92 of the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast. We appreciate you guys being here. Thanks. We got a lot of good comments and reviews since I started asking you guys to leave comments and reviews. So thanks. We appreciate it. You probably saw an ad for the Q&A episode that's coming up. So please submit those questions. And yeah, thanks. Hopefully this is a beneficial episode for you guys to listen to. You may notice the sounds and looks a little different than normal. We're not in the Wensco studio. So FireSprint was nice enough to let us come out here and do this episode. We might have had to drop off a few things, so it worked out pretty well for us on the timing. But yeah, thanks for having me. And if you guys want to just start by introducing who you are, what your role is here, and how long you guys been doing this.
I have a mint in my mouth.
Yeah. So
I can't talk.
Yeah, we're out on the FireSprint production floor here, so that's kind of cool. It's fun to do it this way. Hopefully you guys will see some stuff in the background. But I'm Gene, and I am the CEO of FireSprint. We are a trade printer. You can check us out at firesprint.com to see what we do. But other than that, we're real open and love to answer any questions we can to just, I don't know, help the industry. Here we are.
And you said thanks for coming here, or for letting you come here. Thanks for coming out here.
Yeah,
I know
really.
you drove 9 hours overnight.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything the whole time. Well, we got lucky that the Northern Lights were out last night.
Yeah.
So there was actually something to see. I was just thinking, what's worse than driving through cornfields is driving through cornfields in the absolute middle of the night. You're like looking at, I got 50 miles to empty. And you're like, man, I really hope there's another gas station at 50 miles from here, because I'm not sure I'm going to see one. No, happy to be out here. So thanks, guys.
Yeah.
So I want to start. We talked about this kind of before we started, but I think it would be beneficial for people to listen to. So we want to talk about, in general, you guys do a lot of what we'll call like wholesale type signage stuff.
That's all
here.
we do. Yeah.
So ultimately, I think that's what we're going to get to. So if you guys think that'll be beneficial, that's probably what we'll talk about, especially towards the later half of this episode. But what I want to talk about is, we talked about it earlier in terms of kind of what it was like starting this and what that looks like when you scale from, you know, a few pieces of small equipment to like the first thing I said to you when we walked in here is, wow, you got a lot of money and equipment sitting in here.
Yeah.
What is it like to scale from kind of starting out, and maybe you yourself were wholesaling some of that out, and getting to the point where you're at now with all the equipment that's in here?
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe I'll just tell our story a little bit from the beginning. And so I started in 2007 in my parents' basement. And then James and Mark, our third partner, joined me just like within 10 months of me starting. And I was, you know, I will say the thing that I love about print, signage, this industry is that and this, people might hate me for saying this, but the barriers to entry to this industry are so low, right? Yeah. Like you can just say, you know what, I'm going to do this. You learn a design software, Adobe Illustrator, something like that. And, you know, you can sub out some work and you just kind of get started. In 2007, it wasn't that much different. Like I'm just like, I'm going to do this. So I bought a plotter off of eBay, like a cheap one. And just started going up and down strip malls, you know, just popping in stores saying, what kind of signs do you need? What, you know, is there anything that, you know, I can print for you? And I'd say yes to as many things as possible. And then I'd go home at night and figure out how to get it done, whether it's subbing it out or like making it myself or calling a buddy or something like that. And I, every evening, and it just keep repeating that cycle until we grew. And then so in like 2009, James, Mark, and I were kind of realizing that we really do like the industry. We like making stuff, but the design side, none of the three of us are artists. And so we're like, maybe we can do this wholesale. We can actually work for the artists, do that work, have the graphic designer send us the art, and then we will just print. We'll just run the printers. And so that kind of led us. We started with screen printing. We did graphic screen printing, bought that first press in 2010. And then we went full digital or added all of our digital equipment in 2014, 15, 16. And then actually last year, right?
Yep.
Last year we stopped screen printing and now we're a full digital house for wide format stuff. But, I don't know that I remember your original question.
No, it was pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had talked about just in terms of like we run into some shops who feel like they struggle to scale past like that first piece of equipment, right? So they bring in something originally and that basically they're like, we only do this thing, right? That we originally started. They never really scale past that. And then they're looking at their business, 3, 4, 5 years later, and they're looking like, how do we get to the next level, right? We feel like we've been stuck here. And it feels like you guys have just, based on your timeline, right? You said 2007. Is that when you started? So from 2007 to 2025 right now, it feels like it's just been a continual growth, right? Like you said, there's more equipment on the way right now, right? It's just been steady, and the equipment that's at the front of this place is also newer here as well. So what do you think helped you kind of continue to scale instead of like staying kind of comfortable where you were?
So I don't know. That's a tough question, right? There's so much to it.
I think one of the things that we have, and it's, I wish I had a perfect answer that like anybody could apply to their business, but one of the things that's really helped us is our, so by the way, I'm James Hamzhie, and I'm on the sales and marketing side. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself right at the beginning.
We might have messed this up.
No, that's okay. No, I'm good. It's my fault. But one of the things I think that's really helped us is our sales and marketing are always kind of ridden on the coattails of production. And so, which is a bad thing being in the marketing role, but a good thing for a business, because it has been always kind of like easy to make the decision to invest in the company, because we look at it, we say, okay, we've been writing capacity for X number of months, and we typically, the spring and fall, we always exceed capacity. We get more orders in than what we can handle, which is like, okay, let's figure out what the next step is. Well, figuring out what the next step is always difficult, because you have to decide whether it's going to be more of the same stuff, or is it something new. And so for us, it's been, we've got our niche products that we like. We have really tried to focus in on what we do really well, and then it's just so we added the Durst P5 this year, and then it's been cutting. Now our bottleneck is in finishing, which now it's trying to get that ramped up. And,
2 more Zooms coming.
Yep.
Beginning next year. Yeah. I think if I think about it, I think one of the biggest, like we're talking about success, right? It's like, how do you grow? That's i.e. how do you do it successfully? You can grow without profit. You can't do that for very long. So you have to be profitable. You have to take care of your clients. You've got to, there's a lot of, base business stuff, but I think for us, it's been a lot of subtraction. And so like, if I think about it, it's when we really had our first big spike. So the first couple of years we did, I think I did $100,000 my first year in revenue. And the second year I did like 200,000, third year, 300,000. So there's that now, but I think we did 600,000, actually in our like third to fourth year. And that was a big jump. And that was the year that we switched to wholesale. And so what that actually meant was we took about 80% of our clients and customers and said, I'm sorry, we're not going to sell to you anymore. Here's who you can go work with. And we referred them all away in 2010. And it was like scary and painful at first.
And not all of it came back either.
Not all of it came back to us, even through like the wholesale channel, switching to wholesale. And so we subtracted that. I know, there's products that tend to slow us down. We've subtracted those products. We've removed them. We've had certain types of clients that they find like this little cherry picked deal in our system. You order it at this certain size and we're the cheapest in the industry by 50%. And it's just because of the way it's calculating through our shopping cart. And so we're like, no, we've got to button that hole up, even though they become a big client. And we've subtracted a lot through the process. Of course, now we don't screen print anymore. We made that decision. And every time we do that, it's always, double digit percentages of our business. So pretty significant, 10, 20% sometimes of our business that we're going to say, okay, we're going to shut this down. But by subtracting, what we're really saying, it's not that we're taking away, it's that we're saying that, for example, the digital yard signs and the stickers and the banners that we do are our highest priority. And so by prioritizing the work and the customers, even like if I go back to wholesale, as soon as we said we were going to be wholesale, instead of everyone on the planet potentially being a customer, if you're a sign shop or a print shop or you do wraps or anything like that, right? I mean, everybody's a potential customer, yeah, right? Like 100%. Everybody drives a car, so they're all potential customers. So you're like on high alert anytime you're at a mingler or something. If you're in print, any business owner is potentially a customer. Anybody having a wedding, anybody throwing a baby shower, they're all potential customers, right? So it's like, how do you focus? How does anybody know you for anything because you do everything, right? When we said we're wholesale, so in 2010, we basically said we're wholesale screen printed yard signs. That was our tagline, wholesale screen printed yard signs. It's a big market, but it's really specific. So it wasn't that hard for people to understand what we did. It wasn't that hard to take mind share, right? For them to just understand that, yeah, I buy all this other stuff from all these other companies, but I'm a sign shop and I need wholesale screen printed yard signs. Who do I call? Oh, I call FireSprint because that's all they do. They're great at it. And I think, that really does come back to, when we start to feel like we've got shiny objects and we're being pulled in all these directions, we're like, no. Let's get back to roots here, back to basics, right? Run our regular drills that we're good at. And I think it feels like every time we've done that, we see a spike, we grow.
Yeah, it is hard to do that though, because while we were saying our business model is wholesale screen printed yard signs, every fourth call was, hey, can you print a banner? Hey, can you do a magnet?
Yeah.
Hey, can you do a sticker or a decal? And, which like all of a sudden those are all products that we have now. But, at the time it was like, no, this is not, we don't have the equipment set up for that. We don't have the lanes set up for it. And it's hard to see business get turned away. I think back on, talking about cutting materials back and really honing in on your focus. I think back on 2021, we were coming off of COVID. We had, from 2019 to 2020, we had doubled our sales, which is, hard to do, but we had the right product mix at the right time, with graduation signs and stuff like that. And so we had all this growth in 2020, and then 21, it was like, okay, what can we do to keep the business going and keep it growing? And so we had a few clients that, were kind of odd. They weren't odd products, but they they didn't fit the production system well, but they were high volume. They're a lot of revenue. And, we were trying to make up for all that growth to keep the potential, to keep the momentum going. And we had made the decision to kind of pull back and be like, okay, these actually are hurting us more than they're helping us. We need to, we need to clear these out so that we create space, which on the sales side, I'm like, no, we can't do that. We got to keep that revenue going, but then fortunately, we had the foresight to be like, okay, this is, and so there's times where you pull back, you cut things, and it's at the time it was 20% of our business or 15% of our business, whatever it was, and it's significant, but it allows you to laser focus.
It was 20% of our business that was taking up, and the rule of thumb, like you might ask, I would like, your question is, how do you pick what? And so one of the ways that we'll do that here at FireSprint, one of us will notice it. It's not like a system that we do, but one of us will notice that, man, like this represents 15% of our business. So 15% of our business today is $1 million, right? So like this represents 15% of our business, but we spend 80% of our high level meetings talking about it. And that's your red flag, right? That's like, okay, so that means we have 85% of our business that we're not talking about. That's just running, right? It's the client service team understands it. Our production team understands it. Everybody knows what they're doing. We know how to build it on the website. And then we're spending all this time 80% talking about this 15%. It's your 80-20 rules kind of, right? That keep coming into play. I think that has happened to us probably a dozen times over the past 15, 16 years. And it that triggers us. This isn't right. We're not.
Yeah. What I think is interesting, having talked through this now and also have seen kind of all the stuff you guys are working on, what I think you guys seem to do well just from today and also from knowing you previously, though, is revenue isn't the whole picture. And I think for a lot of sign shops, they probably think the revenue is the whole picture, right? They're like, our goal is to do whatever it is, $2 million, $5 million, $10 million in revenue.
Yeah.
And you may go from 5 to 10 million and realize at the end that your profit was actually the same. I mean, you did twice as much work, you made the same amount of money at the end of the year. And that doesn't include just like how much you got paid and what your material was, but like labor becomes a huge part of that. And that's what you guys are talking about there. We're like, the subtraction took away a bunch of revenue, but it also cost us way less in labor. Mm-hmm. It freed us up to do a lot more stuff. And that just comes down from knowing your numbers. Like the thing I was shaking my head at when you showed me earlier is the vibration sensors that you have on your Zunes. And you said it so nonchalantly, like, we're at 24%. We were at 24% based on these vibration sensors. And I paused you. I was like, you're tracking like how much it's running. And you were like, yeah, like that was just like a normal thing that people do. And I was like, I've been in a lot of shops. Okay. That's not a normal thing that people do, right? Nobody's like, yeah, our machine runs 24% of the day, and be like, how do you get that number? Yeah, this little sensor on the machine. So what it seems like you guys are doing really well is like, hey, we would like to make more money, but to make more money, we need to cut out a lot of things to get to that point. And we know what we do well, and obviously we know what we don't do well, and that kind of gets us there. So I think that's interesting. Hopefully people took a lot out of it. I feel like I was just listening like, yeah, this is great. Yeah, it's so many questions. But
we've got a couple of videos where I talk about the vibration sensors, how we use them on our YouTube channel. So if you want to plug that, or you can cut this.
It's pretty sweet. Yeah, on the screen.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
right here. Good. Inside joke there.
We got that in there. So sorry to interrupt you guys, but I just want to take a minute to talk about Nakusa, the name behind our tape. Our tape's the #1 application tape out there, but they are more than just tape now. Nakusa has a full range of products out there. Their new one is called Nexbond. This is a UV cured adhesive. Why does that matter? It's an eco-friendly and durable option, but comparable to most of the eco-friendly options, this is a cost-effective product. So if you're looking for an eco-friendly product or a durable product, or just in general a good vinyl, Nexbond is going to be the one for you. This is available at wensco.com as well as all of their other products. So check it out at Wensco, or reach out if you have any questions. Oh, and don't forget to use your Nakusa bucks. Have you heard about Metamark? Metamark is a company that sells premium graphic solutions for commercial and fleet signage. So whether that's walls, or it's vehicles, or it's tables or doors, we loved it so much we put it all over the podcast studio. So you can check it out on our videos or at wensco.com. So in terms of when you started, and I imagine a lot of what you were doing was wholesaling it out at the beginning, at least, like, oh, I only can do this amount of stuff, right? If you only have a cutter, right, you can't print or anything. Once you were wholesaling it out, how did you kind of decide, okay, what do I want to continue to wholesale? What do I kind of want to bring in house? How were you able to make those decisions early on?
So I don't want to oversimplify it, but it really did come down to math, right? It's like, okay, we're doing this. You start to calculate, if I hire a full-time person to do this, just this, the way I'll look at it is, if we basically do it all here now, but if it's the same formula when we want to expand. We want to get into a new market. We want to add another printer, another cutter, anything like that. It's like, okay, I'm going to buy a piece of equipment. I need a full-time person to run that piece of equipment. I've got the payment on that equipment, the ink cost, the material running through it. I expect we'll get 1,000 square feet a day produced through this piece of equipment. Does that make sense? And, can sales keep up with that, right? Can we sell 1,000 square feet a day more of this product? And if the answer, and sometimes that's a gut, a little bit of a gut check, a gut reaction to it. But if the answer is, yeah, I think we can do that. I feel like the work's out there for this piece of equipment. We can do it. The margin makes sense doing it in-house versus subbing it out. It's really easy to look at the material costs and say, we should do it in-house. But what you really need to do is think about somebody who you're paying health insurance to.
Yeah.
Right. And add them full time, because you're going to pay them whether or not that machine is running, whether or not you're 24%, right?
Yeah.
That's 24% OEE means that 76% of the time in that 2-hour period we were tracking, that machine was not running. And so, you think about these conservative measurements on, am I going to be able to really churn this equipment, pay for it? Am I going to be able to let my guys go home on a holiday, or am I calculating holidays like work in there? Like I have to run this thing on Christmas to pay for it? If the answer to that is yes, then maybe
margins might be too tight.
Yeah, maybe it, if you're making money subbing it out, like keep doing that and get your sales cycle up and sell more of that product. But I think it's a pretty math-based decision when you make that decision. Now, I will say that being wholesale, we have, I don't know, what do we have? Like 2,000 active clients right now, 2,500 active clients right now, and we will consistently see our clients buy a piece of equipment and then ramp up their volume with us. And the one caveat, the one thing that you can't just math out, and this is a little bit of a gut feeling, is let's say you take a small sign shop and they don't have a printer in the corner, but they have a salesperson, and you're telling the salesperson, hey, go out there and sell print. And the salesperson's like, I don't know what that means, right? Well, when they walk into the shop and they see, Johnny there running the printer, and they smell the ink and they know that you've got this equipment there, that salesperson suddenly is going to speak with a little bit different tone, a little more, they're just more authentic in what they say.
For sure.
And so you will see a sales spike for that, but still, like, what is that? 20%, 10%? Does it still math out? If it maths out, great. If it doesn't,
we always talk about this when we're looking at someone buying new equipment, right? Mm-hmm. Where I said, like, what you think you're buying it for and what you end up using it for sometimes are two different things, right? What you end up being like, oh, there's actually a market for this very specific thing. But the second thing is what you think you're going to use it for, and then how much more you do. I said it's always more. Like whatever you currently are doing and you think you're going to use it for, once you have it and you use it and you play with it and people start asking you questions, you're like, yeah, let's try it. And you find out that you can do it. I said it's, when we sell an equipment, if we went in a year later and we're like, okay, here's the paper. This is what you said you want to do when you filled the form, right? You said you want to do banners and stickers and maybe partial wraps, right? And we're 12 months later and you're doing full wraps. You're not doing any banners and stickers at all, and you're doing full sale signage, right? It's like what you thought you were going to do and what you end up doing are two different things. And I think that's probably what you guys are seeing, right? Is they're like, okay, we're going to buy it we've been doing a lot of stickers, a lot of yard signs. We're going to buy it. We're going to do that. And then they get so busy doing that, people are asking for other things. Like, well, shoot, let me go back to subbing these things out I can start up printing the new things.
It's like suddenly you can do that same day work, right? Yeah. And then you're charging triple for it if you're doing it right. Like you're charging a lot for this rush work. And so your printer's doing this high margin, low volume work. And it's like, I still need to send all this stuff to FireSprint. So like we always encourage, anytime our client calls us, or sometimes we'll see customers at like one of the big trade shows or something like that. And they're like, I'm not here looking at equipment. We're like, no, dude, buy the equipment. It's going to work out for all of us. You know? But
there's the other thing I think we've realized, especially the more customers who've had this podcast, there's so much work out there for everyone. I don't think anyone realized. Like we were talking about this earlier, obviously, but like if we just do a good job at not making people mad and staying in business and making good product,
what a low bar, right?
Just don't customers just keep showing up. Yeah, like literally,
we have a saying for that here. It's called D.F.I.U.
Yeah, but D.F.I.U.
There you go. It's on the. It's but that's what I feel like. I feel like the bar is literally just like, if I just don't mess it up, what we're doing now, then new customers show up, and I think that's probably what you guys are feeling as well. Like even as customers leave, like there's enough still coming in that. And there's enough business out there that I don't think it really hurts to have them buy equipment.
No, and you know, being on the wholesale side, like we aggregate more of the industry. Yeah. When we're peaking, I think a pretty good percentage of the industry is peaking. You know, because we're selling to the whole country.
Yeah.
And we are constantly like behind. There's so much work to do. And it's like as soon as we catch up, like we'll catch up 1 month and we'll start to have some extra capacity, and it's like the next month will be a record month because of it. It's like oh, you didn't let anybody down last month, FireSprint. Okay, here's all of it, right?
Yeah.
And we continuously feel that way, but it's it's staying focused on what we do. We say no a lot more than we say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about at the beginning, you were just doing yard signs. I think this will be applicable to a bunch of sign shops, like I said earlier, who they're like, these are the 3 things we do, right? A customer comes in, they're like, we do these 3 things. How did you guys decide at the beginning when to start adding, and how did you decide what to add?
I've got a good reason for this. So in 2000, when did we buy the KX7? Was that 2014?
14.
Yeah. So 2014, we were, so I think we got our screen print lines in 2010, and we screen printed yard signs from 2010 till last year. But that was our core focus for the 4 years. We didn't really do anything else. And we added digital yard signs and banners like in 13 or 12. And I remember there was another partner printer that we were working with that was helping us with all the full color Coro that we were sending out. And when we bought the Jetrix KX7 at the time, it was the first one in the country, and we had enough business that we were outsourcing to like basically fill this machine up. And so it was a really easy decision for us to add this piece of equipment. And we got it. And I remember, like the whole testing process, and when when we were looking at the material, it was, everything was going to work out. It was all going to be fine. We're like, everything's great. The adhesion, is going to work and stuff, because we were twisting the corrugated plastic. And I remember that very distinctly. And then we got it in, and we couldn't print on Coro at first. And that was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And right at that same time, we had a few clients that were like demanding like polystyrene and PVC from us. And so it worked out because we added those materials, and it got us into that market a little bit better. But we kind of fell into it, because we had this equipment that needed to run, but it couldn't run what we had to run, what we had to produce on it. And since then we had figured out, how to print Coro and stuff, but, there's that learning curve. But to get started, we had to add those other materials to help them out, plus keep our equipment running. I feel like that kind of opened the door for us.
Yeah. How often are you guys adding products and then finding out later that like, oh, just kidding, we actually don't want to do this at all?
We try to not do that, Gene.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
I'm the cutter.
That's
why he's looking at me. I'm the one who walks in and says, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
It's not that frequently. We probably, like in the last year, we've probably added. So there's a difference between like a derivative of a product, so like we're printing corrugated plastic, and then we add another product that uses corrugated plastic, but it's a different, it's a different product name that drives traffic to our site or drives traffic to our products. Those are a lot easier to do.
So like a selfie frame versus a yard sign.
Yeah.
They're both corrugated plastic. They both run through the same production system, but we add the selfie frame as its own product. Just make it easy to sell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or like an auction paddle.
Yeah.
Is another one. And so
that
doesn't get as much kickback, like if we do something, like
get rid of it. Yeah.
But new materials and stuff, there's a lot more hands involved. And so now it's not as frequent. If we run it, generally we know we're going to take it and do well with it.
I asked just based on like having talked to you guys previously, and like we've had a lot of discussions on what marketing and sales and all that stuff. What does that look like? What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
What's working? Right. You guys just take me as someone who like measures absolutely anything that's measurable. Right. And
I wish.
I love that we look that way from the outside.
No. I'm not saying you measure everything. I'm saying measure anything you can measure, right? Like there's always more to measure. I mean, we deal with that every day, right? It's like when you sent me, I think when we did our first Q&A, you said, what KPIs do you use? And I was just sitting here like, there's probably 12 of them that I look at. Which ones are the most important? I feel like it depends if you asked me on Monday or if you asked me on Friday. I don't know. Every time I look at it, it could split it 37 different ways, right? But I just think if you're looking at it from that perspective, I think there's probably frequent times where you come up, you'll be like, well, we thought this was going to do this, and actually it does. It's actually doing this, which maybe isn't what we originally intended. So I was just curious if that happens frequently enough where you're like, well, we thought this product would do well, and it did do well, but maybe the work was worse than we thought it was going to be, or something along those lines.
Maybe once or twice a year will we cut something anymore, but we were slower to add too. I think for a while there, we were adding stuff fast, you're doing a lot of experimentation, and then, you just start to realize that this is taking capacity from the stuff that we're really good at. And so that's usually when we cut, but we haven't really cut anything this year, have we?
No,
I don't
think so. Well, we've had supply chain issues that have caused us to back out of a product.
Yeah.
There's been that. We've had that for 1 or 2 products.
Yeah. The other thing that comes to mind with that one is, so on the sales and marketing side of things, right? So you guys, if the stuff that you're tracking, you're going to know which products are like 1, easy, and 2, higher margin, I assume, than the other ones. Are you guys tracking that to help determine what products you're pushing out in the market? We asked this in a previous episode where we were talking about car wraps, where like, you may find out what you do really, really well, right? And it maybe the margin's the same, but you're like, yeah, okay, this same one that we make the same takes us 4 hours and this one takes us 3 hours, right? And you're like, well, I can do 4 of these in a day or 3 of these in a day compared to 2. Is that something you guys are tracking on your end? Does that determine what you push on the marketing side, or do you kind of allow your customers to kind of decide what you push and where?
Yeah.
Yeah. Both.
No. So
and
yeah. So right now, the way that like we generate our email blasts, so email blasts and then YouTube are probably the 2 biggest forms of marketing for us. The way that YouTube is like, whatever video we can possibly think of to come up with, we'll usually Gene or I will shoot that with Andrew, and then put it up and stuff, and we just kind of see how it goes. But there's not really any we don't have any methodology as to when we place stuff, or when we have a goal to put a video up once a week.
Yeah.
And then same thing with our email blast. We have a goal to send a content related email blast and then a product related email blast once a week. So there's 2 that go out per. The content and the product that we send out, we actually let our client services team, our customer support team,
people taking the calls.
Yeah. And so Andrew will queue up 6, 7, 8 email blasts for each one, and then he'll show them those, and then they will go in and they'll actually choose which one they think is the most relevant to go out. And so I would like to put some more science behind it, and I think we will as we.
That seems perfectly scientific to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
The people that talk to the customers, ask them, be like, do any of these seem like questions you've answered?
Yeah. Yep.
Seems like a great idea.
And so
I think I might implement this myself.
Yeah. And so, and then one of the other things too is he will go back and he'll report on how well each email blast did. And so we're only 4 or 5 weeks into this, I think, right now. But they really like the feedback, and I feel like they want to do well too. So to see a spike, with this specific email blast, I don't know, it's kind of fun. It's neat. And then the number one reason why you do it, more important than anything else that I have found so far, is client services or your customer support team is not in the dark as to what's going out.
Yeah,
because that has happened many a times before, where it's you guys just sent out, somebody calls in hey, you just sent out an email blast about yard signs having lower pricing, and they're like, oh, that's news to me. And it's
yeah, we totally never do that at Wensco.
Never.
I guarantee nobody's called and asked about a promo that customer service did not know was going on. Yeah, we totally haven't done that one before.
We all do it.
Yeah. That's funny.
You're working so hard to just ship something.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a lot of times it comes down to the last minute. It's gosh, we gotta, let's stay consistent. Let's get our blast out every Thursday or whatever we're doing. And then it gets easy to, skip some of the internal hurdles that you really should be going through. And
yeah.
Guys, before we leave today, I just wanted to ask you one quick question, and that is, what is a pirate's favorite application tape? R tape. R tape is the #1 application tape in the United States, and it comes with an RLA, which is a release liner adhesion, meaning it's going to stick to the liner. Even on cut graphics, if you roll it, it's not going to tunnel, wrinkle, or curl, or anything like that. So if you're looking for the best application tape for cut graphics out there, R tape RLA is for you, and you can get it at wensco.com. From the marketing and sales side, speaking directly to sign shop owners out there, do you think this is going to be an impossible question to ask, but it'll give you a mindset as to where you're at with it. If you had to pick, and the only marketing platform you could use was either essentially social media, you could pick YouTube if you want, since that's the one you guys spend the most time with, or email. If you could only say they only had time to do one of them, which one would you spend the time to do?
So I would say it doesn't matter what you pick. Pick one and do it over and over and over again. And when you think that you have actually gotten your message across, you're just barely scratching the surface to getting your message across.
When you're bored of it, your customers are starting to maybe hear it for the first time.
And that's not me. That's actually Alex Ramosi that says that. He's got his own podcast and stuff. But I firmly believe that just pick one and run with it. It doesn't really matter.
I literally listened to him on the way here, and his pitch was, he says, what I think many business owners understand is the quantity of ask that goes into the sale, right? Like, I think we've been told like, oh, a customer needs to see your product 7 times before they are able to make a purchase or something like that. That's like old school marketing talk.
Yeah.
And they're saying now it's like with the rapid pace when you're talking about like Instagram, Reels, Shorts, and TikTok, the speed at which they're seeing your ad is like a fraction of a second, right? I don't know if you guys have seen any of these like high schoolers scrolling on their phone.
Yeah.
I don't even understand how they decide when to stop. It is so fast. Like, I'm like, what are you even looking for when you say, you're just like literally as fast as you can
Fortunately,
swipe.
we're not selling to the high schoolers.
Yeah,
yet,
exactly.
So we're okay for a few more years.
Yeah, but you're saying that like eventually that's what we're getting to, right?
Yeah.
Is that speed. So we're saying if it was 7 times, 5 years ago, and it's got to be 70 or 700 times now, right? So we talk about this all the time with our team where we're sending an email, like we're coming up on our holiday season, right? And I was like, yeah, we're going to send an email every day pretty much for 3 weeks straight, right? And they're like, oh, aren't people going to be mad? And be like, they're going to see 4 of the 20 emails that we go out, unless they're really engaged, in which case, sweet. Then they're not going to care because they actually want to hear from us. And if they don't want to hear from us, they probably aren't seeing them anyways, right? So, I 100% think you're right. I think if you think you're doing it well, you're probably not doing it nearly as frequently, even if you are doing it well. So
I had a guy, he has helped us a lot in the past few years, but one of the things that he told me when because we were talking about sending email blasts and we were worried about open rate and we were doing all that. And he made a really good point. He says, even if your emails aren't getting opened, he says, just the fact of seeing FireSprint trade only printer, in that line, he's like, when they go to mark them as read, he's like, don't count that as a loss. He's like, they're still seeing that name. And think about, the Wensco or FireSprint emails or, whoever emails that you get, you're still, I don't know, even if they're just marking them as read, they're still seeing your name.
Yeah. So I think either of those, when I said it, email or social, I think either one of those is great touch points, right? They're 2 totally different things. That's kind of where I was going with it. It was like, which one do you guys feel like is more important to you guys? But either one of them, I think if you did them well and did them frequently, you're going to see a giant increase. And I think most people are doing neither currently, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say, so we do actually quite a few YouTube videos, right? And that's a thing. But one of the reasons why is I'm doing it right now. Like, I'll get into a monologue about an idea, right? And I can go through this and I can talk this out and I can organize my thoughts more clearly while I'm talking in front of a camera than I can like on paper. And so it is very easy for me to record a 5-minute video about something we're doing here in the shop that's interesting to other sign companies and whatnot, or maybe boring, whatever. But that is a lot easier for me than finding like a hero image and then writing up some content for an email blast and that kind of stuff. So we push a lot to YouTube. But that's because it's easy for me, right?
Yep.
And I would say, whatever sign shop, whatever you're doing, any business, like if one of those is easier for you than the other, if the idea of taking a picture of work you're doing and then posting it to Facebook every day is like, oh yeah, I can do that. Well, then do that.
Yeah.
Like that's what's going to get you that consistent, 100%. Whatever is the least load on your brain, I think is probably the answer.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's Gary Vee who says this, but there's basically 3 forms, right? It's written, audio, or video. Those you have to pick one, right? So if you're not comfortable with one of those, you're gonna have to get remotely comfortable. Most people are probably comfortable with one of those 3 things, right? You either are comfortable talking, you're comfortable writing, or you're lastly comfortable being on video, which is probably the last for most people. But if you are comfortable with any 3 of those, just pick that one. Like whatever is the easiest form to get it out and you can do it consistently. I think do that. And I think you guys have done that well. Like we were just joking that you guys have your YouTube counter. I was like, yeah, you guys passed us. And you're like, serious? I was like, yes, I'm being dead serious. You zoomed right by us. So, and all that was that's something that relatively comes easy. I mean, posting every week is never easy, but it comes comfortable enough.
The easiest of the options.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool. I think what you guys are doing on YouTube is different, right? None of your, I mean, that's what we're obviously working on here, right? None of your competitors are out there putting videos showing people like literally like, oh, here's how we do it. Here's how it works. Here's how we track it. None of them are doing that, right? None of them are out making podcasts like we're out here doing. So I think that's cool. I think it's a really good idea. And I think it's getting your name out there in a way that is personable for people to see who is there. So
yeah, we're real people. For now.
Yeah.
Well, let me flick him real quick. No,
we talked about that on the way here.
There's
it's a long ways away before they take over. So
one other thing too, if video is your thing, if you find that video is like really easy to shoot for yourself and to post to YouTube or post videos to Facebook or Reels or whatever, don't be afraid just to use your phone. Like there's nothing wrong with a phone video. Like, I mean, that's how a lot of our stuff that we've put up in the past has just been on an iPhone or a Samsung or whatever. And so it's just because you don't have all the fancy equipment doesn't mean that you have to, you have to stop.
Just start.
Yep.
100%. So, kind of to wrap this up here from your guys, do you guys want to just go through, if someone is looking for wholesale, what all products do you guys have available? What does it look like to order from you guys? That kind of stuff.
So I guess that's me.
This is a sales job. He's like, this is what I pay people for.
So we take all of our orders through FireSprint.com. And so I encourage you to check it out, FireSprint.com. And then we should do a coupon code right up here, Wensco, for, I don't know, 10% off your first order.
You know what the funny part is? Is you just double committed. You committed to my guy to putting it on the screen, and you committed to you actually making the code before we get to it.
So I got to remember
Andrew,
to go make
we need a Wensco coupon code.
10%
off.
10% off your first order.
If it's not, it's Andrew's fault if it doesn't happen.
If it doesn't work, call Andrew. Here's his cell phone number. I'm just kidding.
So that being said, you can always reach Gene or I. It's just Gene at firesprint.com, GENE, or James at Firesprint, JAMES at firesprint.com. You can always email us questions. I try to stay away from like order related questions for us, but anything about the business, anything, if there's content that you want to see from us or something like that, you can always do that. So sorry to plug that real quick. And then, product wise, we do, trade only printers for yard sign stickers, banners, magnets, posters. But yeah, just check out firesprint.com and you see our full product line, and please feel free to reach out to us and use that coupon code.
Appreciate it. Well, I appreciate you guys having me. It's been cool to see the whole facility. Like I didn't know what I was going to walk into when I got here, besides like having seen it in the videos, right? But besides that, and then meeting the team and letting me sit in your sweet meeting that you just had, that was a great time. I'm not very flexible, so that was a bit of a struggle. I might need to implement this back at the shop, but I just appreciate you guys having me, showing me all around. You're not very secretive, which is a little different than some of the other ones that are out there. So I greatly appreciate it, and appreciate you guys coming on and talking to us, and hopefully it was helpful. I don't know how long we've been doing this for. Oh, it says 43 on there, so like 40 minutes. So we're probably pretty good.
That's good.
But
wow.
Did you guys have anything else to add? Anything we missed? Anything you think they should know?
We appreciate you coming to Omaha and doing this with us, and inviting us on the show. Kind of cool. Excited for your 100th live Q&A. I'll have a whole
just send me like 1,000 questions like last time. I'll just go through all of them one at a time. No one else will get to talk. It'll just be me.
Us and Don Long.
Yeah, exactly. It's just I'll just alternate the two.
Hi, Don. I know he's watching.
He's definitely. He's already commented 47 times before you got to this point.
I love that.
He's like, nobody said my name. It's been 40 minutes. Nobody even talked to me. So
the Don father.
Yeah. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode. So bye.
Thank you.